Ever since I started this channel in 2016, I've gotten multiple questions and comments asking if and assuming that I'm a furry. I am going to put these to rest right now. I am not. This next film is not going to help my case. I'm assuming by now that everyone watching this would know what Zootopia is. But for the sake of those few people like me who grew up under a rock, I'll give a quick rundown. In March of 2016, Disney Animation Studios came out with a movie about anthropomorphic animals living in a human-like society. This film went through multiple rewrites and story changes during its development, until it finally landed on being about a rookie cop who was trying to make it in the big city. Also, it was about prejudice. When I first saw this film, I didn't hold all that much of an opinion. It was fine. Not great, not horrible. The racism thing was kind of shoved down your throat, but for what it wasn't the worst. I kind of just figured it was a fine movie and left it at that. Then I watched it again. I have worked in law enforcement for a while now. It's a field I take a great deal of pride in and feel very passionately about. As I watched this film again, I became intensely aware of all the stereotypes and inaccuracies that are utilized in this film. Which is ironic, seeing as how this film is about not using stereotypes. So guess what? We are going to go through every single one. You and me, together. Put your paws together and strap in. This is Disney's hit Zootopia. The movie starts out with a short stage play narrated by our budding protagonist named Judy Hopps. She goes on to explain how the city of Zootopia was founded and how this society as we know it was formed, albeit with some graphic visuals.
Blood! 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 And death.
Should I be censoring this? I feel like I should be censoring this. After the play, Judy's parents have a talk with her about how her dreams are stupid and how she should never try anything.
What your father means, hon, is it's going to be difficult. Impossible even for you to become a police officer.
Right. There's never been a bunny cop.
No.
Bunnies don't do that.
Never.
Never.
Despite her parents' warning, Judy does follow her dream to the end and attends a police academy. Her size does initially get in the way, but after focusing all her determination, she pulls through and figures out how to use her size and speed to her advantage. This whole scene I really like, and to an extent, I wish the whole movie was more about this. Judy trying to figure out how to get through academy when the whole world seems to be against her, and learning how to use her disadvantages to get ahead. It's a moral I have never seen it before in a kids movie, and I think it's a good one, especially in this climate of, you can do anything if you just want to hard enough. Finally, after learning to overcome her limitations, Judy graduates with honors from the academy and is assigned to the first precinct of the Zootopia Police Department, hired solely out of an initiative to include more minorities. I am going to come back to this later. So now it's finally time for our protagonist to head out and start her new job in fulfilling her dreams. She arrives in the city and it is everything she ever hoped for.
And welcome to the Grand Pangolin Arms. Luxury apartments with charm.
I would just like to point out there is no bathroom in this studio apartment. Judy wakes up the next morning excited to start. She puts on her crisp new uniform, has her bulletproof vest on the outside for some reason, and dashes off to start her day. Here is where I would like to stop with my first issue. I know many departments don't want officers to wear their uniform off-duty, for the simple fact that it puts a target on their back and might reflect badly on the department as a whole if the officer does something a little less than squeaky. That's why departments have locker rooms where officers can keep their uniforms crisp and clean. However, I'm going to let this one slide because I can't exactly read through the ZPD policy handbook and verify this. Judy makes it to the station where she meets Clawhauser, the donut-loving cheetah dispatcher who is absolutely in love with a famous singer voiced by Shakira named Gazelle. Here is another inaccuracy, as dispatchers absolutely do not work at the front desk because they need to be available for the officers at all times. And also, there are multiple dispatchers working at one time. especially for a large city like Zootopia. However, I will let this one slide also, simply due to storytelling and necessity to keep from having too many characters. The next one, however, I will not let slide. Hops goes down to roll call and briefing, where she is by far the smallest animal in the room, all the others being lions, tigers, and bears. You know, large, typically stronger animals that are not usually at the bottom of the food chain. The chief, a large water buffalo named Chief Bogo, gives the briefing and hands out the assignments. And here's where the inaccuracies really start to get to me, so strap in because I'm going to go through them rapid fire. It's Judy Hopps' first day, the first day even being at the department, yet she goes through no FTO training period whatsoever. After someone goes through the police academy where they gain all their technical knowledge, they are then hired by the department and are assigned an FTO. FTO stands for Field Training Officer. They are senior officers that have received specialized training and are a pay grade higher than regular officers, and they are responsible for all the on-the-job training of new recruits. Any new officer is required to go through this, regardless of if they have been an officer at another department. This is just to make sure the new recruit doesn't do something stupid and to make sure all policies are followed, as they can differ from department to department. The FTO period typically lasts 8 to 12 weeks, and from there, the rookie is then on parole for a year. The whole period is to ensure that new recruit lives up to the department's expectations, and it is very important. However, Judy Hopps is never assigned an FTO or given any time with the partner to ensure she knows what she is doing. She is just given a badge and presumably a gun and told, "Hey, do this task." So Chief Bogo assigns her to parking duty. That's all fine and good. If she's not going to be put on FTO, giving her a small, simple job that allows her to get her feet wet while not having her be in immediate danger is a good idea. But the gall this rabbit has to stand up to her commanding officer and tell him, "No, I don't want to do that," it makes every single muscle in my body tense up. It should be bred out of you in academy to follow orders, especially if you haven't yet gotten the clout to back it up. Furthermore, grievances should be taken to the first sergeant and run up the chain of command, not just to the top of the chain entirely. Further, rookies are usually always assigned the menial jobs no one else wants to do. It's how you build up a rapport, and the hazing process is how many departments form camaraderie and give each other good stories to tell. It's all part of the process. Sit down, shut up, and enjoy the ride. Hopps gets offended that the chief won't give her a chance with a disappearance case of all things, and says,
Sir, I'm not just some token bunny.
Yeah, hun, you are. Remember that scene we put a pin in at the beginning? You were hired by the mayor for political reasons, so yeah, you are a token bunny. But it's what the chief says in response that really irks me.
Well, then writing 100 tickets a day should be easy.
I know it's a common misconception that police are required to reach a monthly quota of traffic tickets, but no. In the United States of America, that is actually illegal. If a commanding officer is found out to be giving their officers quotas to meet, they can get into some serious legal trouble. All Hopps would have to do is report that Bogo is forcing ticket quotas, and we'd have an entirely different movie on our hands. Hopps, however, does not report on Bogo and instead gives herself a goal of double the quota in half the time. I could go into how this is the wrong attitude to have toward policing, but I won't right now, because on her lunch break she finds a suspicious character lurking around an ice cream parlor made for large mammals and run by a herd of elephants. She goes in to investigate and finds that the fox whom she thought was suspicious was actually just trying to buy a large popsicle for his son. However, the owner was refusing him service simply because he was a fox. Disgusted by the speciesism, she intervenes.
Are your customers aware they're getting snot and mucus with their cookies and cream?
What are you talking about?
Well, I don't want to cause you any trouble, but I believe scooping ice cream with an ungloved trunk is a Class 3 health code violation. Which is kind of a big deal.
As someone who's worked in the food industry for most of my life, this makes me super uncomfortable. Hops is able to negotiate with the shop owner in order to have her not report the parlor to the health department, and Fox gets the popsicle.
Officer
Hops, Mr.
Wild. Nick Wild.
Hops goes on about her business until she sees the fennec fox, which was supposedly Nick's son. She runs over to say hello, but then sees him driving away, clearly not the toddler as he had appeared. She follows them and unearths their whole operation. After scamming an oversized popsicle from the XL Mammal establishment, they melt it down into juice, freeze it into custom-made molds, then sell these popsicles to a bunch of lemmings just getting out of work. Then they resell the popsicle sticks as lumber. Zero waste at 100% profit. Kind of ingenious, really. Hops tries to call Nick out on his BS, but he has all his paperwork in order, so she can't nab him on anything. He then proceeds to make her not great day even worse by brutally telling her that she's stupid for trying to be anything other than a rabbit.
Everyone comes to Zootopia thinking they can be anything they want. Well, you can't. You can only be what you are. Sly Fox, Dumb Bunny.
I am not a dumb bunny.
Right. And that's not wet cement.
The next day, things only get worse, as is demonstrated by the most realistic scene of police work I have ever seen in any media ever.
That was 30 seconds over!
Yeah, you're a real hero, lady. My mommy says she wishes you were dead.
Uncool, Rabbit. My tax dollars pay his salary.
It's not all bad, though, as her route takes her past the robbery currently in progress. Hops abandons her beat and chases after the thief. It is time again for some notes. Again, I don't know the exact policies of the ZPD, but many cities across the nation have a no chase policy, and regardless of if Zootopia is one of these cities, police cannot just go blindly pursue someone. They have to constantly assess whether or not it is still safe to continue a pursuit, and they are responsible to call it off or change their approach if a pursuit becomes too dangerous. Judging from all this property damage and endangerment to civilians in Little Rodentia, she should have called off this pursuit long ago.
This is Officer McQuarrie. We got a 1031.
I got dibs! Officer Hops, I am in pursuit! Woo-woo! Freeze!
Hey, meet me. Wait for the real cops.
Secondly, I don't know a single cop that would turn down a rookie's desire to take a case. Remember what I said about the hazing process? Every cop I've ever met, if the underling claims they have it under control and is taking responsibility for that report, they will clear from that scene faster than you can say, hey, you want to go get lunch? So after damaging hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property and endangering countless rodent lives, Hops bags the weasel thief and brings him in, only to immediately get called up to the chief's office.
I popped the weasel!
Hops! Abandoning your post, inciting a scurry, reckless endangerment of rodents, but, to be fair, you did stop a master criminal from stealing 24 moldy onions.
Everything Chief Bogo says is valid, and I know we're supposed to feel sorry for Hops for being reprimanded, but no, she should be written up. But as always, Hops can't keep her big mouth shut.
Hate to disagree with you, sir, but those aren't onions. Those are a crocus varietal called Midnicambum holocithius. They're a Class C botanical, sir. Well, I grew up in a family where plant husbandry was kind of a thing.
Shut your tiny mouth now!
In the course of writing this review, I have realized that, yeah, most of Judy's problems come from the fact that she talks way too much. Just shut up and stop letting your pride get in the way. Jeez! During this meeting, an otter bursts in, begging the chief to spend more manpower to find her husband.
Husband has been missing for 10 days. His name is Emmett Otterton.
Yes, I know.
He's a florist. We have 2 beautiful children. He would never just disappear. Please. There's got to be somebody to find my Emmett.
This otter frustrates me. I can understand from her point of view. Her husband is missing. She's worried. That's the thing in the forefront of her mind. But as someone who's worked on the receiving end, there are 14 missing persons cases, and all of them have worried family coming in and begging the department to find them. All this, and there are probably only a handful of detectives in the department. For the sake of argument, let's say 5. 5 detectives working on 14 missing persons cases, All the while, families and friends are constantly calling, showing up, begging for their loved one to be made priority. Yeah, it gets frustrating. But, as always, Judy can't keep her big mouth shut and completely overhauls protocol, agreeing to take the missing otter case.
I will find him.
Oh, thank you. Bless you, little bunny.
Again, this frustrates me. Not only does it take someone off the street, but she should be outright fired for insubordination.
You're fired.
What? Why?
Insubordination!
Good! At least someone has a brain in this situation. But it's too late for Chief Bogo to make good on his termination because the assistant mayor finds out and spreads the word around about all the good Judy is doing. So instead, Chief Bogo gives her a limited time to find the missing otter.
I will give you 48 hours.
Yes!
That's 2 days to find Emmett Otterton.
Okay.
But you strike out, you resign.
Oh. Okay. Deal.
He gives Judy the case file on the missing otter, through which Judy finds out the otter had bought one of Wild's popsicles before disappearing. So she goes to find Wild, who she then goads into assisting her or being taken to jail for tax evasion.
$200 a day, 365 days a year. Since you were 12, that's 2 decades, so times 20, which is 1,460,000, I think. I mean, I am just a dumb bunny, but we are good at multiplying. Anyway, according to your tax forms, you reported, let me see here, 0. Unfortunately, lying on a federal form is a punishable offense. 5 years jail time. It's called a hustle, sweetheart.
Wild finally agrees to take her where he saw the otter go. Turns out, it's a nudist club. Should I be censoring this? I feel like I should be censoring this. Hops and Wild go to ask the elephant yoga instructor if she remembers the otter, but she does not. Thanks to this yak's photographic memory, however, they are able to get the car and license plate. They go to the Secretary of State. Technically, it's the Department of Motor Vehicles. Screw you! This is Michigan. We call it Secretary of State. And this is the scene everyone knows by heart. They go in, all the workers are sloths, ha ha. This whole detour has taken them till nighttime, and by the time they get to the limo service to whom the car belongs, they are closed. Judy, however, doesn't have a permit to investigate the site, so she incites the incident, allowing her access. Rabbit, you should be ashamed of yourself. Hobbs finds the car in question and begins her investigation. That is, until Wild realizes that the car belongs to a Godfather-esque mob boss named Mr. Big. The pair are caught and brought in to see Mr. Big, who is not happy to see Wild because...
I trusted you, Nikki. I welcomed you into my home. We broke bread together. Grandmama made you a cannoli. And how did you repay my generosity? With a rug made from the butt of a skunk. A skunk butt rug.
This brings up a huge question of mine. Why is there a rug made from a skunk? Are skunks for some reason not sentient? Are they considered a lower class and therefore undesirables? We don't see any skunks in the background of this movie, so are they farmed and killed for their meat and fur? Is this how the carnivorous creatures survive without hunting? I need answers, damn it! Mr. Big is about to kill off our two main characters until a meeting of chance saves their lives.
Shady! It's time for our dance! What did we say? No icing anyone at my wedding!
I have to, baby. Daddy has to.
Mr. Big lets them both go and tells them what they need to know. This leads them to the driver of the car, a panther named Mr. Manches.
You should be asking, what happened to me?
Whoa. Teensy Otter did that?
It turns out the otter went completely savage, clawing up the back of the limo and scratching Manches' eye out. Manches is about to let them in and tell them more when all of a sudden...
Mr. Manches?
Buddy?
Are you okay? Run.
Run!
run!
The panther goes savage as well and chases Hops and Wild all over the forest. Hops calls for backup, but when the backup arrives, Monches has disappeared. Chief Bogo tries to get Judy to resign per their agreement, but Wild steps in.
No.
What did you say, Fox?
Sorry. What I said was no. She will not be giving you that badge. Look, you gave her a clown vest and a 3-wheeled joke-mobile in 2 days to solve a case you guys haven't cracked in 2 weeks? Yeah, it's no wonder she needed to get help from a fox. None of you guys were going to help her, were you? Here's the thing, Chief. You gave her the 48 hours, so technically we still have 10 left to find our Mr. Otterton. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So, if you'll excuse us, we have a very big lead to follow and a case to crack. Good day.
After leading Judy away, Wild gets the idea to check the traffic cameras all around the city, so they could see where the panther went. By getting help from the assistant mayor, they find that Monches has been captured by a pair of wolves and taken away to an old sanatorium off the waterfall. Some investigation work leads them to discovering that all the missing animals are savage and have been taken here.
11, 12, 13, 14. Not including Monches, it's 14. Chief Bogo handed out 14 missing mammal files. They're all here. All of the missing mammals are right here.
However, all is not well, as it turns out the mayor is the one behind all of it. After a quick and improbable escape down a toilet, Hops and Wild fall down the waterfall and hurry to tell Chief Bogo that all the missing mammals have been found.
Oh, yes, of course. About that, sir. Officer Hops just called. She found all of them.
Wow, I'm impressed.
At a big press release, Hops is about to talk to the press about all the findings, but she is a little nervous, so Wild talks her through it.
You want to look smart, answer their question with your own question, and then answer that question.
You should be up there with me. We did this together.
Well, am I a cop? No, I am not.
Hops says she would like for Wild to be her official partner, and this leads to the most unbelievable part of the entire movie. The police application is 1 page. I will say that again. The most unbelievable part of this movie is that the police application is 1 page. For the record, would you like to see how long my police application was? The press conference does not go well, as Hops lets slip that what she thinks is a harmless comment, but Wild takes offense to it. This press conference makes tensions between prey and predator even tighter, as riots and protests take to the streets. Judy feels responsible and right as the new mayor Bellwether is about to make her the face of the prey rights movement. She quits, choosing to go back to live with her parents on their farm. There she finds out that a type of flower can make animals display the symptoms shown in the predators that went savage. In fact, the same kind of flower that the weasel was stealing earlier.
Hate to disagree with you, sir, but those aren't onions. Those are a crocus varietal called Midnicampum holosithius. They're a Class C botanical, sir.
Hey, kids, don't you run through that Midnicampum holosithius.
Which brings up a question. If Judy knew about these flowers already, and was raised to avoid them because of their toxicity, how did she not put 2 and 2 together before? In a frenzy, Hops rushes back to the city to find Nick and apologize, and together they rush to find out how the flowers are being used. Down in an abandoned subway car, they find a sharpshooter ram named Doug and find out he's been making a poison with the flowers that he can shoot animals with that will make them go savage. They manage to get the evidence and are about to take it to Chief Bogo when it's discovered that the sheep in the city all appear to be in cahoots. Police and new Mayor Bellwether alike. Mayor Bellwether shoots Nick with the poison to make him go savage, and he attacks Judy. But with some quick thinking and theatrics, it turns out they had switched out the poison for some blueberries and caught Bellwether's whole monologue on tape.
We got it. I think we got it. We got it up there. Thank you, Yakety Yak. You laid it all out beautifully.
What?
Yeah, oh, are you looking for the serum? Well, it's right here.
What you've got in the weapon there? Those are blueberries from my family's farm.
Mwah. It's my word against yours.
Ooh, actually,
And I'll dart every predator in Zootopia to keep it that way.
it's your word against yours. It's called a hustle, sweetheart. Boom.
The truth is revealed, Bellwether is arrested, the savage animals are cured, and Wild somehow passes his background check and is made a cop. So that was Disney's Zootopia, and it is not a good representation of the law enforcement process. I mean, with how hard they tried on movies like Coco and Moana to get every detail just right, you'd think they'd be able to hire someone with a little LE experience to tell them how the hiring process and standard procedures worked. So with all that said, I guess that means you don't like it. No, I love this movie. Yeah, it doesn't show the job of law enforcement in a realistic light, but that's not what it's meant for. It's meant to be a cute, easily digestible race relations parable, and for that, it does fine. A little ham-fisted at times, but a fine job nonetheless. Well, if you hate the way police work is portrayed, why don't you try to make him yourself then? You know what? I did! It's a comic called Canine. It's about a brand new officer in training trying to navigate the ups and downs of police work with the help of her FTO. It's free to read on DeviantArt, and I hope you check it out if you're interested. Thank you for being patient with me. I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, but I've had a lot on my plate this past few years. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Whenever that may be.
Good evening, Zootopia! Come on, everybody! Put your paws up!
I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. Lost to myself, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down. I keep on hitting the ground. But I always get up now to see what's next. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. Try everything. Try everything. Try everything.
Put your paws in the air, come on! Con las pezuñas arriba, vamos!
Eso! Look how far you've come. You've filled your heart with love. Baby, you've done enough. Take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up. No need to run so fast. Sometimes we come last, but we did our best. I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I'll keep on making those new mistakes. I'll keep on making them every day. Those new mistakes. Try everything. Try everything. Try everything.
try everything.